For the first time, India will celebrate Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose's birth anniversary as part of the Republic Day celebrations. Netaji, as the leader of the Provisional Government of Azad Hind, led an army of POW Indians in East Asia and took on the British government in Indian soil and sustained a movement against the colonizers in India as well as abroad. According to an article published by The Hindu in 1947, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was without doubt a far sighted, realistic type of leader. He knew that our motherland could not be liberated unless a military campaign was launched from outside India. He knew also that facilities could be obtained for such a campaign only from Britain's enemies and not from Britain's allies during the course of World War II. We take a look at Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's significant role in India's freedom struggle. On 26 January 1941, Netaji had escaped from Calcutta and traveled to the Soviet Union via Kabul. There, he tried to get support for an armed revolt in India but was sent to Germany. With the help of the Germans, he formed the Indian National Army in Berlin in January 1942. By July 1942, the army had 300 volunteers and they were issued German army uniforms bearing a badge on the right arm showing a leaping tiger superimposed on the Indian tricolor. It had the phrase Frei as Indian or Free India. They were designated as the Free Indian Legion. This was when Bose had turned his attention to Southeast Asia. On July 4, 1943, Netaji arrived in Singapore and took over the Indian independence movement, which was started by the late Rash Bihari Bose. Within a few weeks of his arrival, Netaji had convinced thousands of Indians in the region to join him. With the help of the Japanese, he formed a trained army of about 40,000 troops, but at the heart of his campaign was India. The Congress tricolor flag and a new national anthem was adopted. Chalo Delhi was the war cry, and Jai Hind was the acknowledged greeting among Indians. On October 21, 1943, he formed the Provisional Government of Azad Hind with a cabinet of ministers and advisors. On October 24, 1943, he declared war on Britain for the liberation of India. An article published by The Hindu read, on October 24, 1943, as head of the state of the provisional government, he declared war on Britain for the liberation of 40 crore of our brothers and sisters in our motherland. Great and memorable were the scenes of enthusiasm evidenced on the declaration of war in the presence of a very large civil and military gathering in Singapore. What was interesting is that the Indian National Army did not rely on the Japanese or anyone else for resources except for aerial transport. On January 6, 1944, the headquarters of the Provisional Government of Azad Hind and the Supreme Command of the Indian National Army moved to Rangoon. On February 4, 1944, the Indian National Army soldiers had crossed the border and entered into India, and by June 1944, they had surrounded Imphal but had to withdraw into Burma soon after. However, they waged battles in various fronts in Burma till Rangoon fell to British forces on May 1, 1945. After the Japanese surrendered, Bose reportedly died due to burn injuries after a plane crash in August 1945 in a Japanese hospital in Taiwan. But Bose had left his mark on India's collective psyche. The British held trials to court martial several Indian National Army officers between November 1945 and May 1946, and 10 court martials were held. Several mutinies took place in India in protest. Members of the Royal Indian Navy mutinied, and this, coincidentally, will be featured in the Navy's tableau during the Republic Day parade. Officers in the British Indian Army started ignoring orders from their British superiors, and British garrisons in Madras as well as Pune faced revolts, including the mutiny by Indian Army men in Jabalpur. The Indian National Army failed in liberating India, but it was one of the most influential factors for the British to leave India. In 1947, an article published by The Hindu stated, Netaji practiced an independent outlook in every detail throughout the campaign. In diplomacy and military strategy, he was superb. Our biggest takeaway from Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose is his idea of India and his focus on the unity of India.